Next, the Lakers. So I have to be honest. I was so close, John. Brian Windhorst, of all days, today, I was a day away from talking about this. And he talks about on the podcast where there is this prevailing thought that the Los Angeles Lakers, what if they got Kyrie Irving? Where the Lakers say, hey, we came within, I don't know, maybe they get swept, maybe they don't. Let's say they lose this series. Say we came within 1, 2, 3, 4 games of making the NBA Finals. And we did it with D'Angelo Russell actually making us actively worse. They go to Kyrie Irving and they say, Kyrie, what if you are our missing piece? And now as the fan, you're thinking, well, hold up. How does this work? How could they get Kyrie? They can't give him a full max, right? And the answer is yes. They cannot give him a full max. Kyrie Irving would not be able to realistically come to the Lakers with a full max. But maybe Kyrie Irving doesn't care. Because Kyrie Irving also opted into his contract with the hope of, hey, that might make me more likely to go to LA because if I opt out, they can't do it last summer, all that stuff. So how would the Lakers get this done? And this is going to become Lakers Film School for just a moment because there is a reason behind this.
I know where you're going.
The Lakers did some interesting stuff this year. First, this summer, they traded Talen Horton-Tucker for Patrick Beverley. Talen Horton-Tucker had a player option. Patrick Beverley did not have any contract after this year. So they cleared about like a $10-11 million off the books. Okay, so they're going the cap space route. Well, they're not because now they've traded for Rui Hachimura, and Hachimura has a cap hold. He's a restricted free agent. So maybe they're going over the cap. I don't know. And then they trade Russell Westbrook and all these salaries and everything. What do they get? Well, they get D'Angelo Russell, expiring contract. Malik Beasley, team option for next year. Mo Bamba, non-guaranteed contract next year. Fully non-guaranteed, right? They get Jared Vanderbilt, non-guaranteed. I would imagine they guarantee that contract. I don't think that's going anywhere.
Even though he's not playing a ton right now.
Right. Austin Reeves, still on the books. So if you're the Lakers, what do you potentially do? Well, you could clear the cap holds, non-guaranteed, decline team options of everyone except for Austin Reeves. That should open up about 30 some odd $30 million, right? Thing is, you run the risk of Rui Hachimura walking out the door, which you'd really rather not do. So theoretically speaking, I mean, they could sign him to the room exception and he comes off the bench and, it's not like a Minnesota situation where they suppressed his value. Was Joe Smith that way back when?
Oh, yeah.
It won't quite be like that. But also, if you're the Lakers and you're thinking, if we get Kyrie Irving in the door, if it means we lose Rui Hachimura, that sucks, but we have Kyrie. And then, so you sign Kyrie Irving if you're the Lakers, and then you could go over the salary cap to bring back Austin Reeves. But what?
But only to a certain amount.
Yeah, right. There's the likelihood maybe another team gives him a high offer. The Lakers match it anyway. It's like like what the Nets did in terms of trying to get other teams to overpay for their own talent, and it worked.
Like I think the most
Tyler Johnson.
I think the most they could give Austin is 12 a year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, but again, it's another team will probably try to piss off the Lakers by saying, "Yeah, we really like Austin," like the Jazz. Let's say they say we love Austin Rivers. Reeves. We're going to offer him Austin Reeves, 4 years, $99 million. I think that's potentially his max. And the Lakers say, well, we're not going to let him walk. And the Jazz say, cool. Well, we just made you pay a lot of money for another player. Austin Reeves is also subjected to the Arenas rule. It was named after Gilbert Arenas. Yeah. First 2 years for the Lakers, that salary is going to be, I think it's the average salary NBA. Might be the mid-level. I'm blanking on it, but it's going to be like 11, 12 million. And then years 3 and 4 are basically all the other money they couldn't front load. It now becomes a backloaded contract. All of that being said, why does this matter? Well, we talked about clearing cap space for Kyrie Irving. John, what costs money that might impact your cap space?
A draft pick.
A draft pick, especially the 17th pick overall. Now, if this were a second round pick, it would be the same as an incomplete roster charge. That's what the cap hold would be. But for the Lakers, that's not the case. The 17th pick overall is going to be a little bit more expensive. It might be like 3-4 million. Honestly, can't remember. So with that said, what if the Lakers traded out of this draft? What if they said, we want to sign Kyrie Irving and we're cool with not having this pick? In comes a team like the Knicks. Maybe the Knicks say, hey, we'll give you, one of our protected, let's say it's the Mavericks pick.
Take a pick of
Mavericks picks. Yeah. We'll give you the Pistons pick next year. We could give you a couple other second round picks because the market for trading into, what was it, the 13th pick overall last year when the Knicks got Jalen Duren for the Pistons, they traded a first round pick, the Denver Nuggets pick. Yeah. And they traded 4 second round picks as well.
Yeah. A bunch of seconds.
So the market is somewhere around a protected pick and a few second round picks. Now, do I think this is likely to happen? I don't. I think there are other avenues the Knicks will try to explore. The Knicks have typically tried to keep as many first round picks as they can. But with that said, if there were a team that needed to cut salary and create cap space to the best of their abilities, I feel like it would be the Lakers. I really do. What say you?
I think it hinges on Kyrie.
Sure.
Which is frightening. But yeah, and I think it behooves the Knicks, and if there was a player they wanted to get in on the draft and was around this range that they wanted to get, and I think it would behoove the Knicks or it would benefit the Knicks the fact that they hold all of these protected picks to the point where I wonder, and I think there would be some way, even with the protections, to perhaps craft some language surrounding a pick that they would send to LA about, like, you get the better of X or Y or Z, and then they could even protect it on their end. I think they would have some options to incentivize LA perhaps to feel like they're getting their money's worth in the deal. No pun intended, but yeah.
So yeah, that was the Lakers. Again, don't think it's the likeliest, but I could understand the method.
That's interesting.
Madness and go from there.
I hadn't thought of the Lakers in that specific context. I thought you're going a Reeves route with that one.
No, I have not believed Austin Reeves is an option for the Knicks. It's totally different. We skipped 18. That's the Miami Heat. 19, the Warriors. The Warriors have focused in the past on adding draft talent while trying to stay competitive. I would imagine that stays the same. They do not have a pick next year, most likely because it's in Memphis. So I would imagine they will not trade this pick. Do you agree?
Yeah. And again, I don't know that I see, unless you want to get crazy and turn it into a much larger deal, which I don't really see.
Yeah. 20th, Rockets. We talked about them. I mean, yeah, the Knicks could do the same thing as the Rockets, as they did with the Lakers in that hypothetical trade for 20, give them future picks. It doesn't seem like something they need to do. The Rockets, yes, they could with James Harden and potentially another player, but they could also just do that and not have to give up the 20th pick. So I think the Rockets are going to keep this or move it out in a larger trade.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
We've skipped 21, 22, and 23 for reasons that we've mentioned before with the Nets and the Blazers. 24, the Kings. I would imagine that the Kings are more interested in using salary and their pick for defensive help, right? Like they call up someone like OG Anunoby, or the Raptors to try to get OG Anunoby. Yeah. Maybe the Blazers even try to do that with 23, but the Kings need help on the perimeter defensively. I just don't see them trading out of this draft when they could use that pick to level up.
Yeah, so, package it with some salary they already have. I mean, we've been
Mitchell, Herter, guys like those.
Barnes makes a good deal of money.
No, Barnes can't be moved. He's not
a free agent, is he?
He is a free agent.
Harrison Barnes a free agent? How did I not realize that? That's a terrible job by me. Okay, I stand corrected.
So yeah,
Harrison Barnes a free agent, huh?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Huh.
So we'll see.
Be curious what his market is this summer.
Yeah, I think if it's a team like Dallas, if they create cap space, if they lose Kyrie, they could always sign him. But maybe he doesn't want to go back to Dallas because maybe he didn't love how he was treated. Maybe he signs for the mid-level exception somewhere.
I was about to say, it feels like Harrison Barnes is like 35. I think he's like 28 or 29 or something. He's younger than
I think he's 30, turning 31.
Oh, okay. So maybe he's a little bit older than I. And
he was born in 92.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. And then the Grizzlies, the Grizzlies could trade this pick, but they love the draft so much, even with all of the talent that they have. I would imagine they try to consolidate their assets a bit. I mean, you could tell me that they moved this pick and other picks and players on their roster for, again, mentioned before, Pascal Siakam. Wouldn't shock me in the slightest. They just have so many picks. I just don't see them trading out, but maybe they do. Maybe they are more interested in getting future assets, but they wouldn't be my first choice because of how much they have invested in the draft. I mean,
and they find guys too.
They do. It's Steven Adams, it's Tyus Jones, it's Luke Kennard, and that's pretty much it in terms of non-homegrown players. Yeah, if memory serves. So, yeah,
no, this is what they do. They scout well and they bring in good talent.
Yeah. So this is what I would like to call the sweet spot. This is the range where I feel more confident in the Knicks getting into the draft than I do getting the 17th pick overall from the Lakers, getting the 20th pick from the Rockets. There feels like something here, and I will tell you why, friends. Well, first of all, before we do that, let's talk about Knicks' future second-round picks. Once again, they have the Pistons pick in 2024, the Jazz pick in 2024, the Nets pick in 2025, the lesser of their own pick, and the Timberwolves pick in 2026, and then their picks in 2027, 2028, and 2029. That's where they're at. Past precedents. In 2019, the Cavaliers traded for the 30th pick overall, right? That was for Kevin Porter Jr. The Pistons received 4 second-round picks from that. I want to say it was like 2020, 2022, 2023. It doesn't matter. There are 4 second-round picks. John, I didn't actually think about this until just this moment. Would you like to remind me who worked for the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2019?
Yeah, that's right. Because Stevie Mills wasn't fired until February of 2020. So that would mean Leon Rose was not here yet, which means Leon Rose didn't bring aboard Brock Aller yet, which means Brock Aller was still in Cleveland.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to point that out as well, because the Knicks clearly said to Portland, look, we're willing to give you our first round pick because we also feel that the Mavs pick can convey. It didn't. That's fine. They've got other backups. But they said, if we miss the playoffs, then you are getting the Pistons pick in 2024, the second round pick, the lesser of our pick and the Timberwolves pick in 2026, and our own picks, second round picks in 2027, 2028. So it means that the Knicks basically thought in that range, that's what the value of those picks are. So in my mind, between these two trades, the Knicks have kind of tipped their hand in terms of how they assess value in this type of range in the draft. And the difference is too, the second round picks with the new CBA, because of how important it is to have cheap talent, those picks have become more in demand. And I think if you are another team and you're looking, how can we do all of this? How can we get more future assets? And the Knicks say, we have the ability to move the second round picks that we have. Let's do it. Because here's the one difference between this move and getting, say, the 17th pick overall, if you're the Lakers. If the Knicks are able to use second round picks to trade into the back end of the first round, they still have 4 protected first round picks moving forward.
Yeah.
Right? Being the Mavs, the Pistons, the Bucks, and the Wizards. But if they use one of them to trade in, then it's like, well, we have these 3 protected picks and all these seconds. They're trying to consolidate second round picks. They showed it. This is where I would imagine it comes to play.
I mean, it's a Brock Aller special.
It is. And here's the other thing. We talked about Obi Toppin. I don't feel Obi Toppin should be moved for the 26th pick or the 29th pick, right? We talked about the possibility of doing that back in, I want to say January, maybe February, where we were exploring options and connecting links. I don't believe the Knicks feel that's the best way to use Obi Toppin. All right. I understand the reason behind it. And also, again, when so many fans are saying the Knicks, it makes too much sense for the Knicks to do this, I run the opposite direction. It means it's not going to happen. If it's so obvious that it should happen, it's not going to happen. That's usually how it operates. So look at the Pacers. Yes, we talked about them having the 7th pick overall. They've got 26, they've got 29. And because the Spurs jumped, they actually got the 32nd pick overall. So Indiana is basically saying, well, look, we don't have to take Obi Toppin to then pay him the next summer when we could just take a 4 at 7. We could take a 4 in any of that range, and they're cost controlled for 4 years. But if you're Indiana, and Chris talked about this on Dream, you don't want 3 first round picks. You don't want 3 or 4 top 32 picks. It's a lot of picks. So we don't even need to worry about the salary for any of these teams. Or just have them up, but it's irrelevant because we're actually going to talk about what their draft situation looks like moving forward. So Indiana has all their first round picks moving forward, but second round picks, right? 2024. It's a little bit muddier, right? Like the least favorable of their pick, the Jazz pick, the Cavs pick, it goes to them. But that's, if it's the Cavs and they're in, let's say they're a top 4 seed again, that pick's in the 50s. That doesn't really help them. Other parts of it, like they have the Bucks pick. Is that the Bucks second round pick is going to convey before, say, 55? I'd be surprised. They have their own pick. Yes. In 2025, second round pick, their own pick. And they have the Miami pick, but the Miami pick is unlikely to convey. Then there's a whole mess about 2026, which I believe just boils down to them not having their second round pick. 2028 is a little murky as well. They do have the Jazz pick, and then they have their own picks in 2028 and 2029. So the bottom line here is the Pacers could stand to trade one of 26, 29, and 32 for future second round picks. It would certainly help them. Talk about the Hornets. The Hornets, yes, they have 27 thanks to the Nuggets. That was their pick. I should say the 26 and 29 for the Pacers were the Celtics, or the Cavs and the Celtics respectively. But the Hornets, they have 27. They've also got 34, 39, and 41. I don't expect the Knicks to target 39 and 41, especially considering how they just haven't really drafted that low outside of Trevor Keels and Jericho Sims. So if they want an impact player, they're going to need to go higher than that. Let's look at the Hornets and what they have. Right. So they're probably going to, I wouldn't be surprised, John, if they kept their first round pick because of the protections.
The 27.
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. Their own pick, right? The pick that they traded. No. Let me back up for a second.
Okay.
The pick that they traded to the Knicks in 2021. They traded for the 19th pick overall. They traded a protected first to New York. That pick went to Atlanta for Cam Reddish. It went from then Atlanta to San Antonio as part of the DeJounte Murray trade. That pick did not convey this year. It's top 14 protected next year and the year after that. Is it going to convey?
Maybe. I wouldn't hold my breath.
Maybe. But if it doesn't, it becomes 2 second round picks. But moving before then, it's more favorable in 2024. Actually, you know what, John, you take the lead while I cough, please.
Yeah, that's the least I can do. So they essentially, as long as their first round pick does not convey in 2024 or 2025, then they're going to have to give up 2 seconds moving forward for that, which I would assume would be in 2025 and 2026. 26 and 27. 26 and 27. Okay. So they could potentially be out a few second round picks, which I think is your point.
Yes. They could stand to get more.
Yeah.
Down the line. Doesn't hurt. The Jazz, 28. We talked about them having picks. I think it was 9 and 16 were the options. They also have 28. Well, the Jazz also really don't have any second round picks to deal with. They traded
all of their second round picks away during the Mitchell Gobert years.
Exactly. So that's something that maybe they'd like to replenish. And then finally, it's the Clippers. The Knicks and the Clippers have traded a few times in the draft since Leon Rose took over. They also made the trade for Marcus Morris. And they don't have a ton of second round picks. They could use them. Also, it's a cost saving move potentially. Like they're going to be well above the second tax apron, which is important now. Do they want to add more young talent that's not going to play? I'm not sure. They might be better suited taking that pick, doing everything and saying we'll save money and we can add to our second round picks in the future. Wow, I'm really coughing from this water.
We should also say, by the way, because we kind of glossed over it, you referenced it, but just to say it explicitly, the Knicks and the Hornets obviously did a draft night deal, which is the pick that ended up going to Atlanta for Cam. So like there's history with the Knicks and the Hornets on draft night. There's history with the Knicks and the Clippers on draft night. Obviously, the Knicks and the Jazz are well-versed in talking with one another. And then it just leaves Indiana as the only other team, which I'm trying to remember if the Knicks and the Pacers have had. I mean, there were a lot of rumors that they talked, or the Knicks attempted to go up and try to get Duarte. But other than that, maybe nothing. But like these are teams that I think you could safely say the Knicks are comfortable doing business with. Yes.
I'm trying to remember. What was the trade you said with the Hornets and Cam and the pick? What was that?
The from a couple of years ago.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Sorry, I misinterpreted what you got it. Okay, we're good.
The pick that turned into the pick that got sent to Atlanta 100%. For Cam. Yeah,
yep, we're good. I'm just slow at the moment because of dying.
Just joking.
Yeah, it happens. So let's just wrap this up. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. There doesn't have to be whole intricate moves to get the Knicks into the draft or at least into the first round or high in the second round. It can be as simple as the Knicks just trading second round picks to getting a first round pick. It could be as simple as them doing exactly what they did to trade into the draft last year, getting Jalen Duren and then flipping him to Detroit. Doesn't have to involve players. I'd be surprised if it involved players because then you have to deal with matching salary and the times of like if it conveying and all that stuff. It's just easier to do it simply. Value of second round picks is going to increase. I would imagine that teams are considering this, especially teams like the Clippers that are very close to paying or already on track to pay real financial penalties. Maybe Ballmer doesn't care, prints money, but if you can cut around the corners and the margins, maybe that's of better interest to a team like LA. There's the idea of there's no room for a rookie. I haven't seen that too much. I thought last year there was a better argument because I think there were like 12 players already who had, and there was an argument they could be on or in the, on the team. So 12 was a little steep. The year before that, yes, Grimes was there, and they got Deuce, but I think it was still a shortened rotation where, they're on the outside looking in, but that they're one injury away from playing, whereas last year it felt more like two. So there's certainly that option. Best player available. I know a lot of fans say just take the best player available. Well, you have to fit talent and fit into that in some capacity. Like they need to work with what you're doing. It can't just be, we love this player so much, we want to take him. They have to fit within the scheme of what you're doing. And then I've got a prediction in terms of what the Knicks will do. But before I do that, John, I just want to turn it over to you if you have any thoughts. Not necessarily on the prediction, but just generally.
No, just on there's no room for a rookie. I disagree with that. I think the Knicks, again, the Keels pick was so strange because it just was out of the blue, and it was just not a guy that fit. It seemed like it was just a pedigree play. And a pedigree play that has not worked out yet. But neither here nor there. But I think the Knicks are going to be busy this summer to a certain extent. I think there's going to be moving parts. And I don't think for a second that if they traded into the draft, that they would count on that player playing rotation minutes at the outset. But I also and you kind of referenced it a minute ago, Obi Toppin and Manu Quickly. Both guys, well, Toppin had a defined, I think, kind of a defined rotation role going into the season. Emmanuel Quickley did not. And then Emmanuel Quickley ended up playing a ton of minutes as a rookie. The year after that, neither Quentin Grimes nor Deuce McBride had anywhere close to defined rotation spots heading into the year. Both of those guys played key minutes as rookies. Again, last year, didn't happen. Sims. I forgot about Sims. Sims also played as a rookie, obviously. So, like, 3 years under this coach, 5 rookies have gotten like meaningful time. Like I think they do like to a certain extent to kind of restock the deck and have someone, whether that player is the 12th man or the 13th man, maybe the 11th man, but someone who could step in, and kind of, keep practices intense, like all that stuff. I think that matters to them. And so, and this is the range where you would expect them to get sort of that kind of guy. Again, not to be in their plans this year as someone they're going to count on by any stretch of the imagination. But I think to say that they don't have room for a rookie, I would disagree with that, as you pointed out already.
100%. Now, before I unveil my prediction, peek behind the curtain. I put the finishing touches on this presentation this morning, Sunday. And then I thought, great, cool. And I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to catch up on the Casuals podcast, catch up on Dream, and go forward. I put Dream on. I didn't mean sound like Dream On, but that is the lyric, Dream On. So I hit play. And the very first person was Dirty Dancer talking about Pods, the player, talking about trading into the first round to get Pods, Brandon Pajemski. And I just thought, this is a very humbling moment because it just goes to show, Jeremy, you're really not that special. And that's totally fine. I thought it was, as someone who also believes in Brandon Pajemski as the Knicks target, Dirty Dancer, game recognized game, appreciate that. I really think he's their target. And here's why. I didn't show it for a while, but that chart, the 2023 prospects, pull-up game, incredible. Floaters, really great. We know the Knicks like their floaters. Really good spot-up player. This is someone who had an incredible box plus minus 10.6. For context, that would have been, I think it was higher than Obi and Quentin Grimes. And it was a 7.9 offensive box plus minus. Really good. Really, really good. He's not a teenager, right? We've talked about how the Knicks really like getting guys who are 20 years old and older outside of the Trevor Keels draft pick, which, like you just said, I'm still baffled by, but who knows? There are other intangibles we don't account for as fans, maybe. High vertical. Interesting fact. The Knicks have loved players in the draft who are really, their verticality is off the charts.
Jericho Sims.
Obi Toppin.
Yeah, that too.
Quentin Grimes had a great vertical for the combine. Deuce had a great vertical. Emmanuel Quickley, I don't think tested for it, but he was really good. So springiness is something they care about. And having a 39-inch vert is huge. Question, of course, will he be there if we've decided that 26 is kind of the point where the Knicks can most easily get in there? Will he be there at 26? If he won't be, can the Knicks get into the end of the first round and then trade up a little bit more, right? That's where the Portland at 23 might come into play. Maybe that's where the Kings are able to do something. Maybe the Grizzlies trade back a little bit. I don't know. But everything about Brandon Pajemski screams the Knicks would love this player. And I know that Chris was talking about, if Obi's getting moved and the whole thing of moving a 3-4 and having them play consistent minutes, I don't subscribe to that. And I don't think the Knicks do either. And the reason I don't think the Knicks do is because they are going to look at the best player available of the types of prospects they like. And what's more, how often does Tom Thibodeau really trust rookies? The answer is not often. So if
he has a choice.
Right. But I don't see them working together and not finding someone who is a replacement that's ready to play in, say, 15 minutes behind Julius Randle. And I understand that it could be a draft pick, But the way the Knicks keep operating is they keep trying to hoard depth on their roster. Yeah. And I very much see them drafting a player who would not be in the rotation, who would be playing a decent amount in Westchester or, Connecticut, if that's where they're still playing. And then when someone inevitably gets hurt, that's when that player steps into the rotation. And that's also why, again, I think they stretched 10. 9 was manageable. 10 is, there's just too much talent to keep it at 9 players. And that's why I think that if you have someone and you have the best player available that fits exactly what you want, you have a lot of depth at around the 2. I still think he's their guy. We'll see if it comes true. Maybe he gets snapped up a lot earlier and they shift gears. I'm sure they have more than one player that they're interested in. But everything about this screams Knicks draft pick. They've got to be in the draft to make it, though. So we'll see how it happens.
And, if there's one kind of sore spot from last year, first grade as Knicks were last year, potentially passing on a kid out of Santa Clara who looks like he's going to be a player in the league. Now, not all Santa Clara players are created equal, but this is another chance for them to pick up a player out of Santa Clara. We'll see. We'll see if that has anything to do with anything.
Yeah. That's it for me on this round.
Okay.
We're done.
You're out of breath?
I'm good. The water helped. I'm not choking to death anymore. This wouldn't be the first time I had to be rescued on a podcast, but fortunately this time I don't have COVID. So that's the upside. But yeah, I'm really excited for next week. I don't want to oversell it, but I think it's going to be something different. It's not going to be exactly what we've done before. I'm very excited and I need to get it off my chest. It'll be a week for when it happens, but we've covered the draft, John. We're done.
Everyone
else can do it.
What I loved about this, and Jeremy, take it back. We're off to a rousing start. What I love about this is I think for as much as anybody listening to the show might be like, why are you spending time on worrying about the Knicks getting into a draft to select their 12th man? I think it's important for not only the reasons we spoke, but also it's relevant, and it's relevant in this sense. Whatever they do or don't do as far as bigger moves this summer involving big name players on their own team or big name players on other teams, I think what they may do on draft night in this specific respect may very well operate within its own ecosystem, in that it could be a thing that has very little to do with other bigger picture stuff that's going on. And I really do genuinely believe it is valuable to them to continue to, again, restock the coffers, get guys in there who okay, this is going to be a relevant player for us in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, fits what we want to do, the whole thing. They've operated a certain way, as you said at the top, show me, don't tell me. Laugh all you want. The Knicks, this regime values draft picks, and they value getting in the draft. They value getting certain types of players in their system. They value drafting and developing. So the notion that they are just going to sit this draft out when, as you talked about, they have all these second round picks, and there are teams that very, very clearly, for different reasons, may want to move picks that are at the tail end of the first round. I think it's a ripe situation. So, yeah, extraordinarily relevant and extraordinarily well done. And we are done just in the nick of time because it's 9 p.m. now. So just enough time for you to go watch Succession.
Hell yeah.
Just enough time for me to, I think my daughter woke up, so I'm going to put her back to bed and then catch the rest of this Miami-Boston game, which I don't even know what the score is right now. I think that's it. Anything else?
I think we've said enough.
We've said enough. Okay. Yeah. Stay tuned. This is obviously the beginning of another summer of Cap or No Cap, in which we're going to have a lot of good stuff on the docket. Jeremy's excited about next week's episode. So should you be. We will have some other stuff in the meantime this week, but until then, take care, be well, and we will talk to you soon. Peace out.